In the past, many salespeople learned how to sell by observing other experienced sales reps on sales calls. In fact, for some companies, these ride-alongs were a central part of the onboarding process. However, with the recent breakthroughs in the scientific understanding of how the brain learns and how expert performance is achieved, there is now an ocean of evidence that has shown these ride-alongs are highly ineffective at improving sales results. Now, sure, a salesperson can glean some basic information about a sales process or learn how a sales call should flow from observation, but it does not cultivate the sales skills necessary to become a top performer. So what should replace ride-alongs? The scientific data reveals that sales simulations are a far more effective and efficient way to train salespeople how to confidently execute selling behaviors or navigate complex selling situations. Now, what are sales simulations? They're customized simulated scenarios that mirror real-life sales situations and allow salespeople to demonstrate their level of confidence and receive personalized, immediate feedback on how they can improve. Let's look at 3 science-backed reasons why you should use sales simulations when training and coaching salespeople. Reason number 1, sales simulations are based on how the brain learns. How can you help a salesperson quickly improve their sales abilities? Now, because of discoveries in the fields of educational psychology and cognitive neuroscience, we know the answer to this important question. Sales improvement strategies should mirror the way the brain is wired to understand and retain information and develop skills. Here's how science says our brains learn how to sell. When you learn a new sales strategy, your brain must first comprehend it. This process is dependent on the part of your brain known as the neocortex, which is where logical thought is constructed. What's unique about the neocortex is that it learns very quickly. For instance, if you are learning how to ride a bicycle, your neocortex allows you to figure out how to pedal and steer the bike in a matter of minutes. However, if you were to try to ride it, what would happen? You'd fall over. Why? Because only cognitively grasping how to ride a bike via your neocortex has not trained your brain to be able to successfully ride it. To take knowledge and develop it into a skill, you must use your basal ganglia, which is the part of your brain that learns how to perform an activity. And there's one important piece of information about the basal ganglia that you need to know. Unlike the neocortex, it learns slowly, and most importantly, it learns by engaging in an activity. This brain science reveals why sales simulations can improve sales performance dramatically. Unlike ride-alongs, which only involve the neocortex, sales simulations stimulate both the neocortex and the basal ganglia. Here's how. Through the neocortex, you learn a sales behavior, sales process, or a way to handle a challenging objection. Then you train your basal ganglia through a sales simulation where you practice performing the behavior, process, or response. When you fail, you receive feedback that guides you in productively adapting and trying again. Reason number 2, sales simulations allow for personalized and immediate feedback. In a well-known research study, legendary behavioral scientist K. Anders Ericsson and 2 colleagues analyzed how elite performance is achieved. One of their conclusions was that a key factor that enables someone to become an elite performer is competent feedback. They explain, in the absence of adequate feedback, efficient learning is impossible, and improvement only minimal, even for the most highly motivated subjects. This research finding is not unique. There is now a wealth of scientific studies that have come to the same conclusion. Getting personalized feedback is not just a good idea. It's a prerequisite of heightened levels of sales success. Now, not only is feedback vital, but so is when that feedback is given. The sooner feedback is presented, the more influential it will be and the more likely it will be implemented. This is why sales simulations are such an effective training and coaching tool. They allow for a sales manager, trainer, or coach to provide immediate personalized feedback to salespeople before their memory of the situation fades. What's more, salespeople are able to act on that feedback right away by entering into another simulation. This will help them think through and practice the recommended behaviors, which will significantly increase the odds that they will actually use them on a real sales call. Reason number 3. Sales simulations stimulate concentrated learning. Our brains can perform incredible feats, but they also have limited cognitive resources. Research across a variety of scientific disciplines has proven the brain can only process a small amount of information at any given time. And once the brain's threshold is surpassed, its capacity to cognitively grasp information is severely diminished. One example of this is seen in the work of a great cognitive psychologist, George Miller, who studied the brain's limited capacity to be attentive to and process information. Miller demonstrated that the brain can only comprehend a small amount of information at one time. Now, this is why phone numbers, excluding area codes, are only 7 digits. Scientists maintain that if phone numbers were more than 7 numerals, they would be forgotten with far greater frequency. So what does all this have to do with improving sales performance? A lot. Too often, the process of training and coaching salespeople presents too much information, which overwhelms the brain and diminishes its ability to comprehend and retain information. A prime example of this is ride-alongs, which force salespeople to observe an entire sales call and then try to identify ways to improve. Now, you don't have to be a cognitive psychologist to realize this is a highly ineffective way to learn because it overwhelms the brain with too much information, which will hinder both cognition and the retention of what was observed. Science has proven that our brains learn best when information is broken into manageable, digestible pieces. So if you were going to train a new salesperson on your company's sales process, don't demonstrate the entire process, as this will just put them in a confused daze. Instead, focus their attention on the first part of the process, and then show them how to execute it. And let them practice it in a simulation. And after they're able to competently execute that part of the process, you can then advance to the next. The new reality is that our modern selling climate is more challenging than any that preceded it. The old sales strategies are no longer working. Today, we need to upgrade both how we sell and how we develop salespeople. When companies begin to use real-world sales simulations to develop their salespeople's knowledge and skills, they find that they are able to onboard new salespeople faster and improve their results of their current sales team. Thanks for watching. I'm David Hoffeld, the CEO and Chief Sales Trainer here at the Hoffeld Group, reminding you, selling is just too important to be based on anything other than proven science.